The NIODA is the acronym for the National Institute of Organisation Dynamics Australia. It's fully accredited by the Australian Government as a postgraduate qualification. But one of the unique aspects of the program is that we take a psychodynamic view of human behaviour, and I think we're the only management program in Australia to do so.
So when I think about this course and who it's designed for, it's really aimed at people who have some life experience and experience managing in organisations. So it's offered part-time over 3 years, and it's designed so that as students are learning, they can apply the learning in the workplace.
So it was a professional journey for me, learning the tools but then using them, because they're tools that you can apply quite immediately at work. And so I could see the effect that it had on me in terms of my enjoyment of work was revitalised, I guess, and how I was able to share that and do that with my team.
There's so many light bulb moments that come through the learning. I think for me, it was understanding that we're not just a set of individuals, that we actually are networks and teams, and that we think as groups, and not just as, we think we're in control of ourselves as individuals and we come to work, but in fact we work as an organism, as a network all the time. I love that.
I find that in first year they come in with skill and knowledge, but they don't know why they've got it, or they don't know how they've got it, or sometimes they don't know why it's not working, what they want to work. But by third year they've got a lot bigger grasp on that. They start to have a deeper understanding of why what they're doing works or why it doesn't work, and how they can change that and how they can work with the group better.
The change is in how they are capable of reflecting on themselves in the circumstances they find themselves in, with their interpersonal relationships in organisations, with their teams, and, as I said, with how they think about the organisation as a whole.
Well, in this sort of program, we get people to start for themselves. That in fact, as students in the program, they will be having to learn from their own experience in front of others. And we want people to know that before they come into the program.
And being able to know why you are doing things, and to know how to apply things so that you might influence others in a really positive way.
The best things about the course were, first of all, just the sense of group, that you are actually in a team and a group throughout the entire course. It didn't feel like I was an individual student going to university, but it felt like I'd joined a group of people and we were going to learn together.
The most satisfaction I get is when I see students make that shift from individual to group.
It's probably the most personally and professionally, academically challenging course I've ever done.
I use it in just about, family groups, in work groups. There are so many different ways in which this learning can be used.
Absolutely changes just not just what you're doing, but absolutely the way you go about things, and leading your team, interacting with your peers and influencing others in other areas of the organisation.
If you're a person who's thinking about, why is it that things I try don't work as a manager? Why is it that I try my best to fix this problem but the solution doesn't stick? What is getting in the way of me doing the work that I want to do? This is a course that helps you answer that question.
It is a master's degree for leaders and managers, but differs from an MBA because the primary focus is how to lead and manage people.
So I have done an MBA, and the MBA was really useful for understanding about many of the rational and logical and functional aspects of managing an organisation, and you need to know those things. But it didn't really equip me for understanding about the inner work of leadership and management, managing the organisation within. And this course has really changed the way that I think about the way I think about organisations, the way I think about myself, but the way I think about working with others and helping others understand the difference between the rational and logical parts of an organisation and also the inner world of the way in which people think about the organisation as well.
You learn to analyse, understand and manage below the surface group and organisation dynamics, so you can read, interpret and work with what is happening within your organisation.
I think what this course does is it goes deeper. It takes you down underneath the surface of what's going on. A lot of study and a lot of literature is about quite tangible things, about strategies and structures and things we can all learn and that are very useful. But this course goes to another level and it takes you into the unconscious of not only individuals but teams and dynamics between teams and organisations. And it gives you something to really hold on to and work with no matter where you are. It's really great.
You learn to identify blockers to change due to structure, culture and technology, so you can see the blockers within your organisation and help to work through turbulent change.
It's changed fundamentally how I work at work and how I work with others at work, specifically in my role as a manager and a leader, because for the first time, despite having been in management roles for many years before, I had a level of insight that I could never have imagined would be possible, both into myself and to the people that I work with.
You'll work with the emotional labour of leading complex systems in fast-changing environments so that you can effectively lead in this ever-changing world. System psychodynamics developed with a focus on army officer selection, social psychiatry and action research during the Second World War. This master degree course has been taught in Australia for nearly 40 years, so there is a wealth of knowledge and experience for you to learn from. The class sizes are small, so you can learn with and from other leaders and managers. It's almost a mentoring group.
This course is different to other courses that I've looked around for in that, look, some courses, I mean, you could argue that you could do it online, read something, answer a few assessment questions, but this is really different in that you're not just learning from the educators, but you're learning from your cohort and from your peers. I found that incredibly valuable. Having worked at my organisation for a very long time, I'm exposed to people that are working in public, private sector, in the health industry, in public service, and that's really valuable. And to see both where the issues that I experience are common and where they might be completely dissimilar, that's been hugely valuable.
The teaching staff are world-renowned, so you gain rich, insightful tools and skills.
I've learned a lot about myself in terms of how I, paying attention to what I think and feel about and being more curious about those things. I've learnt frameworks and models and techniques for working with the organisations and clients that I work. I use it in just about, family groups, in work groups. There are so many different ways in which this learning can be used.
The learning is experiential, so you get to apply the readings in the group classroom situation and can analyse and learn.
Yeah, I use it all the time in my work. It's really helped in the way that I partner with clients in terms of the way in which I might design programs. So really using a lot of the action learning methodologies in co-creating programs with clients, and even in the way that we might traditionally think about the notion of teaching. This program really encourages participants to take up their own authority for learning, and so that's been really helpful in the way that I think about the role that I play as a facilitator.
It's a work integrated program, which means you can apply the learning in your organisation immediately.
I think just the insight that I could take back to the workplace straight away. I didn't necessarily understand everything I was learning straight away, but it was usable straight away. So it wasn't separate to my workplace, it was actually about my workplace, and that was really great.
The course is taught part-time, so you can fit this in with your work and family life commitments. There are 2 delivery options available, so you have the flexibility to study week by week or in a 3, 4 or 5 day block. Due to COVID-19, classes are currently live, interactive and online, so you're safe and still get to work with the group dynamics, with small groups and full staff support. This is a fully accredited course, so at the completion of your study, you gain a master degree of leadership and management in organisation dynamics. Fee help is available so that you don't have to pay up front, although a number of students are supported by their organisation. NIODA is a not-for-profit organisation created to focus on organisation dynamics. So the primary focus is the course, research and improving organisations, so you can be sure the focus is on you. It's a small dedicated organisation, so you're not lost in the crowd and the focus on learning is clear. In our most recent surveys, there's a 100% satisfaction rating of graduates. Unbelievable but true. The graduates explained how they see the world through a different lens, or they used to see the world in black, white and grey, and now it's in colour. This new vision helps them work in groups and organisations.
So one of the things that I say about the course is that I came into the course and I felt like I was learning all this new information and I didn't know what to do with it, but I was seeing things for the first time. I was seeing things for the first time, and I described that as having put on a pair of Beagle-style goggles and then somewhere down the track realising that I couldn't take them off, that they were stuck on me forever, and that's now how I see the world, which is, a really great thing, something I take away.
Graduates also explain the course is one of the hardest things they've ever done and the most rewarding, often totally changing the trajectory of their career in a positive way.
So this course has impacted on me professionally from the perspective of I now have a different lens at which, intuitively I was able to see the problems from a particular perspective, but now it gives me the language, it gives me the frameworks and the tools to be able to understand those problems and articulate them to others. Personally, look, I didn't quite expect how much I'd develop in terms of self-awareness. This course, you become a better manager, you become a better leader, you actually become a better human being, and that's been incredibly valuable.
If you are a leader or manager who is hungry for the challenge of really understanding emotions in organisations and how they impact performance, then please visit nioda.org.au. In the words of Wilfred Bion, to dare to be aware of the facts of the universe in which we are existing calls for courage.